Hello, and welcome back to SOS Stories of Survivors. I'm your host, Serina Dansker, and today's episode is really, really special. It's not just going to be a conversation, it's going to be a space of deep healing today. I have a very special guest with me, Candice Graciano. Candice is a gifted sound bath healer, but more than that, she's a Reiki practitioner, a grief coach, also a life coach. And she's going to show us how she creates spaces where she can use sound and vibration to open the door to healing and connection and release. I am so excited to hear about her journey and how sound can help us move through grief, trauma, and transition. So please welcome with me, Candice. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Serena. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to be here today.
This is going to be so amazing. And so I want to begin and talk to you and have you tell us, for those who are new to sound healing, how would you describe what you do in its simplest terms?
In its simplest terms, sound healing and frequency healing, the easiest way I like to explain it is that everything operates on a frequency, down to our cells, our tissues, and our organs. And like any instrument, sometimes they get out of tune. And that happens through stress, through everyday life, through disease, through sickness, through environmental changes. So when those frequencies get off and they're out of tune, our song doesn't feel as nice.
Wow, that's a great way to describe it.
So the frequencies help to realign. Right? The sound bowls help to realign the frequencies within us. And I work mostly with the 7 main chakras. So there's hundreds, but we have 7 main ones from our root up to our crown. And we work on just realigning those. Sometimes they can also get blocked. So we can work on unblocking them through the frequencies.
Wow. So I know a couple of the chakras because I do yoga. But can you talk a little bit about those, the different chakras that there are?
Sure. So we have, we start with the root, and then we have the sacral. We have our solar plexus. We have our heart, our throat, our third eye, and our crown chakra.
Wow. That's just amazing. What led you onto this path?
To sound healing?
Yes.
So sound healing I got into honestly through grief. So I had been to sound healings in the past. Right? I used to go to some with my friends in New York City. We would go to a place called Mindful Meditation, and we would go to a lot of sound baths there. My friend Lene was a beautiful sound healing practitioner. In 2019, I lost my best friend. He shot his wife and their unborn child, and then he killed himself.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We had been friends since high school. We were very close. It was a very devastating experience, and there were so many emotions wrapped up in that. There was just sadness, and there was shame, and there was grief, and there was so much in it. And I had such a very difficult time getting through that.
Oh, of course.
I had been working with a coach with a grief coach on moving through it, with a meditation instructor, and I was making small progress, but I was still very stuck, and I felt immobile almost.
Sure. Grief can do that. Yeah.
I went from like working out and being really into fitness to almost not even being able to move.
Wow.
And my friend Lene offered me a sound bath virtually, just through FaceTime, and it just shifted how I felt. It shifted my grief into a space where I felt like I could walk beside it rather than having it completely be trampling me. And I was so amazed because I had been to sound baths before, but I never thought that, I don't know. I just didn't think that this would do it, but I was like, I'll do anything at this point. Just something, please help me.
Exactly. I know that feeling.
It shifted my grief so intensely to this point where I was like, okay, I can take some of my power back from it.
Wow.
That I was already had been certified as a life coach and a grief coach. And I was like, I need to bring this to my clients. I have to bring this to my clients. And that's where it all started.
That's incredible. You know, I had not exactly like your experience, but I too was stuck after my son died, and I was immobilized by the grief, and I was broken. And I had two other children at home and a husband and my mom, and I needed to find a way to get unstuck or to glue myself back together.
Right.
So I went to a healer who she didn't use sound, but she used energy, Reiki, to help heal me. And it was so powerful. It really blew me away. I couldn't even, I had no idea how powerful that is.
Well, it's so interesting you say that because I went for sound and then I also started going to a Reiki practitioner. That's when I first started going, was through my grief, and I ended up becoming a Reiki practitioner also because they were working so well together.
It's
The sound
incredible.
and the energy from the Reiki.
They say that sound and energy, the whole vibration, it's all connected, that we're all connected, right?
We are all connected.
Oh my gosh. So, outside of your practice, what brings you joy? What rituals or little things in your day keep you grounded?
Well, I like to work out and run, so I'm a huge runner.
Ah,
I like to do that. I just did a 5K this weekend. That was a lot of fun.
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really big into the Peloton community, so I do a lot of that. Really just moving my body. And then I do a lot of sound healing, not just for clients, but for myself as well. And actually, I do a lot virtually online, like on TikTok. I'm on a couple times a day where I'm just helping and just doing sound baths, just for the masses that are on. So it's really become this huge part of my life, like my day to day. I spend so much time doing it.
I didn't even know that that was a thing you could do. I did. I did when I was visiting a cousin out in California. It was a place where you did the infrared sauna, and then you did the cold plunge, and then afterwards you went into a room where they did a sound bath.
Yes.
And the combination of that was incredible. But I had no idea that this is, I guess everything's online.
Everything. Well, I do all my clients are through Zoom.
Wow.
So I just recently opened a studio in Ramsey, New Jersey, where I see clients in person. But prior to that, almost all of my clients were via Zoom.
That's incredible. So this show is all about survivors, as you
Yes.
know, and the many ways that we find light in the dark. How do you see sound healing supporting people who've walked through trauma or grief?
I think a lot of times we don't realize how important breath is. We go through our day breathing because it's automatic. We don't think about it, but there's a lot of power and healing in actually connecting to your breath, in lowering your stress levels, your cortisol levels. Certain frequencies can actually help to lower your cortisol levels, heart rate. They help to reduce stress and anxiety. They help promote sleep and relaxation. So whenever we can get more connected with our breath and we can lower our stress and our cortisol levels, there's a lot of healing in that.
That's really funny you say that, because sometimes, I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't fall back to sleep, and I've started from my yoga practices, the meditations, is counting backwards each breath from 27, and if I drift off or lose count and I wake up again, I start over again, and it really works.
It works.
It's fascinating, really.
And you can get straight breathwork meditations that are so powerful. But I always like to incorporate the sound just for the energy and the frequencies of it. And there's a lot of studies that show there's a frequency which is 432 hertz. And there's been some studies that have shown that individuals who use that frequency to go to sleep better than individuals who do not.
That's amazing. Can you paint us a picture of what a session with you, what instruments, what energy, and what intention comes into the space?
Sure. So if it's a one-on-one, we always start with Reiki. Right? I want to have you on the Reiki table. We start with breath work. I want to do a small Reiki session just to feel your energy, to see if you have any blockages there, anything that needs some alignment. And then from there, I head over to the bowls and we start to do the full bowl session of all 7 of them.
Wow.
But once I have already felt into you through your Reiki, then I'll go to the bowls that work with those chakras to either unblock or to align to help you get that frequency back on a healthier vibe, I guess, right? Like back in tune for the untuned.
Yeah,
Is the best way to say it.
well, it's true because grief shows up in so many different ways that, not
Right.
just sadness. I mean, some people akin it to, ADD.
Yes.
You can't focus in a lot. And it's so complex. So do you do different things for different people?
Absolutely, especially with grief, because a lot of people, I mean, that I've worked with, like, they don't even want to talk about it, or they haven't talked about it. So when you get someone into a space where they can release all of their emotions,
Yeah.
it's so powerful, and they don't realize what they're feeling sometimes because it's buried so deep. And you can be grieving something that happened 10 years ago and not even realize it, or realize you never actually grieved something you should have grieved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy. If there was someone listening today who feels stuck in pain, is there a simple home practice that you recommend they try?
I always recommend talking to yourself. Ask yourself questions, get curious. I'm feeling this. Why am I feeling this? Where in my body am I feeling this? What happened to that part of my body or whatever that's making me feel that way? Who said that? Is that me? Is that somebody else? What voice is that? What do I want to say back to them?
Wow.
With trauma clients, I have them work on an age. Okay, what age did that happen? What do you want to say to yourself at that age, right? And it's kind of like inner child work. We're integrating those parts back to you because they are yours. They're part of you, but we've pushed them away. So what conversation that you want to have with them? What do you want to say? How do you want them to feel? What are they saying to you? And it seems like weird at first that we're having this conversation with our 8-year-old self or our 9-year-old self or our 30-year-old self, whatever age. But there's power and wisdom in the things we've pushed away.
It's so true. And sometimes if you don't address those traumas or that grief or whatever you're holding on to, it doesn't go away. It manifests itself in different ways and later on.
There's a book, I forget who writes it, but it's about healing trauma, and it's the trauma cycle, and it talks about, I'll get the name and send it to you so we can add
I would
it
love
too.
that. Yes.
But it's about how, like, if someone's crying and you say, oh, don't cry, here's a tissue, and you have them stop, now that trauma's stuck in their body. And now that causes 5 years from now, it can still be there because they never got it out. So how do you finish the trauma cycle so that the energy comes out of your body?
That's incredible because if you think about young boys, I have boys, and growing up, I didn't tell them not to cry. I'm like, cry all you want, cry a river. It's good, but I guess the males in general are encouraged to not show those feelings, to hold them all in, and by doing so, you're pointing out that it gets stuck in there.
Stuck in there.
And we have a big health crisis with men. Mental health is a big issue. Do you know more men die by suicide than women? It's sad. It really is.
It's very sad. Most of my grief clients that I have are men whose sons have committed suicide.
Oh, that just breaks my heart.
And from 20 up to 60. I mean, of all ages.
Wow.
One of the first things they teach you in life, I took a life coaching course from a company called CTI. And one of the first things they taught us was, don't hand someone a tissue and tell them to cry. Hand them a tissue and tell them, get it out.
Right.
But don't tell people, don't cry.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you, talk a little bit about that, your journey through the other things that you do besides the sound baths.
So I'm also a life coach. I've been a life coach since about 2017, 2018 when I was certified. Prior to doing all of this work, I worked in corporate. I worked in an office. I was doing contract finance. I wasn't happy. Like the office, I know it's not, some people love it and I totally respect that, but it was not for me. I was really sad and really depressed all the time. I always felt like I wanted to help people, but I didn't know how. And I wanted to just be out more and be more active than the life that I could live working in the office. And I was just so sad all the time. So I started working with a life coach. Her name's Jessica King, and she completely changed my entire life.
Wow.
So through working with her, as it was life coaching, personal training, and nutrition at the time, so it was like this full 360. We still have the program. It's called Mindful 3 that I manage. But she really made me see that there were all these other options out there, and I didn't have to take the same path as everybody else. Because I think I kind of just got, sometimes you just get stuck in these like, well, this is just what you do. You just go to work, and if you're unhappy, you just suck it up and get your paycheck. And I used to think about driving my car into like the divider. I was really, really not living the life that I wanted to live.
Wow.
And eventually, we did so much work together. I worked with her for like a year, and I was always like, okay, I know I can leave here. I just need to figure out how.
Yeah.
One day she called me and said, hey, are you still at that shitty job that you hate?
Yes.
And I said, yes. And she said, well, how about you quit and just be my personal assistant? And I quit a 6-figure job to go be her personal assistant, and it changed my entire life.
Well, they say if you do that you love,
Yeah.
the money will follow, because it's really not about the money.
Right. It's the frequency that you're on.
Yes.
Everything, abundance, everything is a frequency. And it's not always easy. I'm not saying it was easy. Right?
No.
I had a supportive spouse at home that was like, if you stop crying, I don't mind. Like, go quit. Please stop crying every day.
Be alive and be present. Right?
So she already had a business, and she was like, hey, why don't you run it? It's really growing. Be my personal assistant, run that business. And 10 years later, I still work as her assistant, still running Mindful 3. We have another business called Thoughtful Coaching that we still run, and I have all of this as well.
That's amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Well, I have to ask you some fun. If your healing style were an animal or sound, what would it be and why?
Oh my gosh, if it was an animal or a sound.
Your healing style.
My healing style. I feel like, I don't know, a rabbit comes to mind.
Okay, but that's okay. So why? Why does the rabbit come to
They're
mind?
fluffy and they're cute and they can be gentle, but they also have like a lot of energy to them. So I feel like I'm kind of a mix of both.
I love that. I'm trying to think what,
like I'm a little chaotic.
Yes, well, who isn't? And bunnies can be too.
Right. Like I had one when I was growing up, and it was like super, jumping around all the time and a little chaotic, but also really like sensitive and calm, and you could really pet them. And
that's awesome.
It was warm. I don't know.
That's awesome. I'm trying to think what mine would be. I feel like the Tasmanian devil, maybe.
I love that though. It's real.
It is. I go a million miles, and sometimes I move so fast I don't remember what I just did. It's like one of those things. But I always have the best of intentions, and that's what life's all about. Doing what feels good for you.
Absolutely. And I think working with the bulls so much, especially in the past year, has kind of even helped me slow down a little bit to a point, because like very chaotic, very frantic all the time, and I've really like reduced that a little bit in the last year to a level that where everything's a little more sustainable.
Well, that's what my goal. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to slow it down and breathe. And that's my goal. I'm not mastering that yet, but I'm trying. I'm trying to live more in the moment and appreciate the moments that we're in. The power of now, and just enjoy that. And not focus on the future or get too worked up about what should be, could be, and all of that. All right. Imagine you're hosting, I don't know where these questions come from, but imagine you're hosting a dream dinner party with 3 people, anyone at all, real, imagined. Who would you have at your table?
So anybody?
Anybody.
I think I'd have my dad. He passed away 2 years ago. Yeah, I think I would have my dad, my grandfather, and my grandmother who passed away. Honestly, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Family is really our connection.
Yeah.
And it's hard when we crossed over to the other side. We miss them.
And I'm pretty sure they're together. So.
Oh, I'm sure they are. And I'm sure they're right here in their energy, really cheering you on right now. This is so awesome.
My dad's favorite holiday was Christmas. So his birthday was October 16th. So I'm already listening to Christmas music. Every year on October 16th, I just started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What's your go-to song or sound that instantly lifts your spirit?
Oh, I'm a 90s grunge girl. So
Oh, I
I
love
love
that.
like Nirvana. Lithium's one of my favorite songs
Wow.
ever. So I'll always throw that on. I love all types of music, but 90s grunge and some good punk and I'm happy.
But that's important, I think.
It is.
I think finding your jam and just being able to just relive those happy moments of your
Totally,
life, right?
totally. Yeah, and I always say there's places for everything, right? Like, people will be surprised. They're like, "Oh, you don't listen to frequencies?" Or sometimes, sure, but like, I love 90s grunge. I love rock. I love concerts. I love punk pop, pop punk. Like, those
Yeah.
things are my jam.
Oh my gosh, I know. And that's what's beautiful about it. Now, you're also, you also do grief coaching besides life coaching and all
Yes.
of that. Can you talk a little bit about that aspect of your career?
Absolutely. So with grief coaching, we I work with clients on what happens now.
Mm.
The fact that the grief isn't may never go away, but how do you walk beside it? Right? What are things that we can do together so that you cannot feel as stuck, as sad all the time? And how can you also, if you want to honor the life and legacy of the person who passed away, but in a way that is helpful and is not harming you?
Right, right. It's it's really funny because healing work can be so powerful and it can also be draining for you, I'm
Yes.
sure, especially when it comes to grief. How do you protect your energy to avoid burning out?
So I see a Reiki practitioner to help me with that. And then I just have rituals, a lot of times before a session, even with sound healing, I connect to the universe. I have like a little saying, and then when I'm done, I ask to disconnect that energy.
Mm, that's really cool, actually. Is there a myth or a misconception about sound healing that you wish people would just let go of?
I don't really get hit with the sound healing too much with myths. What I do get is a lot of people like, what do I need to do? And how long do I have to listen to it before it works? Right? Like it might not work right away,
Mhm.
like anything else. And you don't have to, all you have to do is receive.
Mm.
You really just have to receive.
Yeah, I remember when I did that sound bath, we put a little
Mm.
mask over our face. They even gave us earplugs too,
Yeah.
because you lay down so it doesn't get too loud in
Mhm.
there. And it just, you felt the vibration throughout your entire body. It was super cool, really cool.
I do think though, now that we're talking about it, there is this thing that you're just like hitting the bowls and banging the bowl, and there's intention behind it, and there's beauty and connection behind it. You can't just pull up the bowls and just start. You you have to almost download the intentions and the energy, and then bring it out through the bowls.
So I think of them more like an instrument. If
Yes,
you
they
start
are.
playing a guitar, if I played a guitar for you, it wouldn't sound very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if I played singing bowls, it wouldn't sound very good because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Do you have like music that you're taught or how to?
It's more, so I did take a course. I am certified, and that was a lot of music, but it was also how to play the bowls properly and how to set an intention for the person that you're playing them for.
Mm.
What's coming through to you, and are you listening to that? Because you'll play, and then maybe you'll get stuck on one, and you're like, why do I keep feeling like I need to play this? Because the universe is telling you this person needs
Wow.
that particular frequency
Does
at that time.
does each bowl have a different?
Frequency.
It does.
So the set that I have, it's tuned in like the 432 hertz tuning system. So usually you're either 432 or 440.
Okay.
Right. So it's just, it's just whatever your bowls are tuned to. Mine are tuned to 432, and each bowl has a different frequency depending on the chakra system. So the third eye is 432, the root chakra is 256, because everything has its own frequency. Quartz crystal is normally going to be 432 hertz.
Wow, that's really amazing. I had a feeling about that. Have there been moments in your own journey where you felt lost and powerless, just being a sound bath coach or healer, I guess not every day is a good day. How do you work through those moments so you can help heal others?
Just a year ago, I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep this career going for myself, just because it was really hard for me to get out and meet people and get myself in front of people to even be able to show them what I do. And I barely had any clients. And I was like, maybe this path isn't for me and I need to do something else to supplement income or to just feel like I had a purpose. I didn't feel like, I had this other business on the other side, but this was my own thing that I needed to do. And I felt and at that time I was also injured, so I couldn't run. So I felt like I had lost everything. I couldn't run. And then I was trying to make this work and it wasn't. And I was like, what is my purpose? And then I started streaming on TikTok and it changed everything. My business completely blew up. Like, that community is amazing. The community that I have on there, they are the most just loving, amazing people.
That is so beautiful. That really
and
fills
now
my
I'm
heart.
so busy. I'm trying to fit it all in, but I'm taking on everything because this is what I asked for.
And it's what makes you feel good. It's filling your bucket.
Right. But I really had to ask, I just kept asking the universe, show me what I need to do. Show me what I need to do, because I don't know. And I'm giving it to you right now to show me.
You have to surrender.
Yeah. I kept fighting and fighting and fighting. Yes. And finally I was just just tell me what I need to do and I will do it.
Well, that's awesome. What do you hope to see in the future of the healing spaces like yours?
I hope to see it brought into more hospitals and doctors' offices, very much more the medical community. There are some hospitals now and some hospice centers and even senior home care centers that are bringing sound healing and Reiki and even shamanic healing in. And it's very powerful. Wow. And it's also very calming for people. I'm also an end-of-life doula. And I became an end-of-life doula when my father was in the hospital towards the end of his life and when he was in hospice. And just the amount of people who were by themselves, who were transitioning alone, was heartbreaking.
It is.
And I just think if we can bring in more connectedness to those spaces so that people aren't so alone, even if they're not transitioning, but they're just in a senior care home and they don't have family or friends to
or even if
them.
my mom, she lives alone, and I try to get there as often as I can, but if I go for an hour or two out of my day, she's still alone for the other 22 hours. And it's so heartbreaking to me. It really is. That's really beautiful. If you had one message for survivors listening right now, what would you say to them?
I guess the biggest thing that I would say is that you don't have to go through it alone. That you can reach out. That people do care. And it can feel very lonely for us sometimes.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just have to ask people. I think so much we just either think that we have to go through this by ourselves or we don't know what to ask. And sometimes you just have to ask for someone to just hold space for you, just sit there with you, just be with you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What's next for you, Candice? Any retreats, projects, or dreams on the horizon?
I am working on a retreat, hopefully out in Sedona within the next few months. I'm trying to work on a sound bath retreat for that with Reiki healing as well, and bringing Christine, who's been on your podcast.
Yes.
For that. So I'm working on building that out and just more clients. I really love, I love group work. I just had a sound bath that I did in Saddle River.
Wow.
That was really great. And I just did another event. So I do a lot of group events. I want to do a lot more corporate events because I think it's really important. I'm doing one on Wednesday. So I'm trying to manifest just a lot more. I just want to help as many people as I can, as much as I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess I should ask you, where can our listeners find you and your work? How do they get to you?
My website is CandiceGraciano.com, but I'm all over. If you just put Candice Graciano sound healing in, I come up everywhere. I have Spotify playlists. on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. I've kind of tried to lay myself as many places as I can. I'm a little bit of everywhere.
Oh, Candice, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your heart, and your energy with us today. As we close, I'd like to honor my son Scott by sharing one of his poems. And I do this at the end of every episode. His words are part of the heartbeat of this show, and I feel that by sharing them, I still bring his energy around, and it's so empowering to me. So the poem that I chose, he wrote, it says, "People expect so much to receive, but never to give. I can't perceive these requests that are coming in too fast. By the time I send back, I'm too late. They ludicrous mad, because I can't supply the demand. The demand that just takes and never gives. I know I'd be selfish by saying I got a life to live, and I can't always give. But that's how I be feeling, and nobody cares about how I be wheeling around, not knowing which way is right or wrong, and I snap. I say what I ain't supposed to say. I feel what I ain't supposed to feel. I touch what I ain't supposed to touch. It's too much pressure to be one guy when I want to be another. I'm crossed between two lines, and I can't tell which line is fine and which is not my line. My mind is filled with lies, I tell myself. I don't even know the truth anymore. I'm tired of having these epiphanies when maybe I should just gain the ability to shut the F up, because that's one thing both lines can't neutralize." And he was 15 when he wrote these poems. They're so deep and telling
Really
about
powerful.
what goes on in the mind and of a young boy. He feels so much. And now I have to say, in Scott's spirit and the spirit of this conversation, Candice has graciously offered to leave us with a short sound moment, a vibration of peace and love that we can carry with us throughout the after the episode. And Candice, I'd like to say to you, the mic is yours. Thank you, Candice. And thank you, listeners. This has just been an amazing, amazing night and day, and I just feel it all through my soul. I just want to say until next time, remember SOS Stories of Survivors, where survival sparks the soul. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.